Skateboarding is over. Just like this handsome guy is also over. So this was when I first joined the Agile Prague conference, I think 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. Also over. The rest about me is about this. I'm into this extreme programming, scrums, even before the Agile Manifesto exists, so since 1998. Yes, I'm old. Today I would call myself a simplification officer, and that's where the hashtag is. So we address, I address together with a couple of colleagues of mine, at least we try, to address 4 different complexities. Horizontal, vertical, spatial, technical. And only when you address all 4 of them, you might be actually successful. There's too many talks on organization and people and not enough on technology, I guess. Anyhow, also mine will not be about technology. Who's in a startup organization or a very small organization? A couple of you. So I hope I will give you some information this time so that you do not grow this corporate obesity like many others might have. So the others, are you in a large corporate environment? Yeah, the majority. You might get an understanding why you are what you are today. And then maybe get some ideas on potential improvements. Is that a deal? Yeah? Okay, cool. It's a real story. So a couple of years, I think also about 9 to 10 years ago, I was part of a startup incubator. And I saw some patterns moving upwards, which are quite relevant and interesting to share. So before I start with everything over there, so do you have any idea on how a startup starts? There must be an idea, that's preferably a need. Sometimes I see way too many at least when I was a startup coach over there, I saw too many people coming with technology that didn't understand if there was a need. Now, please shout a bit louder.
Over a beer.
Over a beer, yeah, most probably over a beer. Because the most common one, how a startup starts, is a couple of buddies at uni, maybe over beer with a napkin at a bar, think like, whoa, this would be amazing. Maybe we can make money from it. And then they go into the uni, you have lots of drinks, of course, and smoke some less legal stuff. So you most probably get some other people on board there. Stupid enough to actually help you grow a real product. See, not a project. If you want to see me bantering on projects, then go to the Agile Prague recordings from last year, and then you have about 30 minutes bantering on projects. That's not for now. We consider it a real product, which means that they are trying to validate the feasibility, desirability, viability, which is actually the three things that you find on a business model canvas. So they try to validate assumptions behind it on every kind of level. Not only the need, desirability, but also can we actually do it? Is it cheap enough? Are we going to actually earn money? Is the market big enough? So all that stuff they try to validate, which is great. At the same time, they also try to find money. You know, colleagues at college, uni, you don't really earn that much money, so you need to find money. You go to the 3 Fs. So fools, friends, and family. They give you a bit of money, which means you can actually hire more skills. So UX, front-end, because this was a bit of a gap in our skill set that we had. So we start working on it. And actually we have a larger team. And actually the market is catching up. So our hypothesis behind our business model canvas turned to be real. It's okay. So we start to earn money in that scenario. It also means that my CEO most probably will go out of the team, really, not really participating in the team that much anymore, and go and pitch to angel investors. So to get some more money, to grow faster, because everything needs to be fast, isn't it? So they go and pitch for money. They come back and say, hey, we have round A funding secured, which means a couple of millions. So something around 6, 7, maybe 10 million. So here you go. So great stuff. What do? They hire more people. We have money. So yeah, why not? So we can hire more people, easily to 20, 30 people. You can imagine 20, 30 people working together as one. That's a kind of an issue, isn't it? Not going to work that very well. So luckily, our CEO, founder here, or co-founder of this thing, comes back and says, you know what, guys, let's do this Scrum thing. It works for others. So FOMO, fear of missing out. But he also learned about it at uni, which I think is different than 20 years ago. At least today, they give you something at uni. So let's do this. So they split up the teams. Instead of having a broad responsibility as a club of 20 people, they have smaller teams, and every small team has a smaller responsibility, either front end or back end. So something in that scenario. So that's a good thing. So they also see it all works out. All our business trend metrics show improvement. Great stuff. Which means that here, the CEO can easily find round B funding. Round B funding, we get into the more millions, by the way. It means 30, 40, 50 million, something like that. So they get a hell of a lot more money, don't they? So what do? They hire more people because there's a shitload of customer demand to handle. So they split up the teams which already had a narrow responsibility and even a more narrow responsibility. So, and it's not only 5 teams, of course, there's a lot more with all their narrow responsibilities. So, because this is going to help in a team cognitive load, isn't it? Remember that. So, what could possibly go wrong? Well, actually, we take those teams, we stack them on top of each other, and we see, oh, customers. They all have this amazing, great amount of IDs. And it's like, how do we get now those IDs here towards those teams? How can we handle all customers all at the same time? That's quite a problem, isn't it? So what do companies with money do? Any idea? Hire more people? Well, actually, before hiring even. Yeah, we create a role for it. So we have this kind of problem. So we create a role for people to deal with the customers, account managers, business managers, whatever. So voila, they invent a role. And there we go. We get immediately full team, of course, because we have money. So a manager, a full team that will acquire and talk to the customers. They put it all in this document, one big document. This is what the customers want. So all those product owners here and those teams go like, yeah, you know, we have to read this amount of paperwork, and there's only 2 chapters interesting for me. That's a problem. So that doesn't work for us. It's a problem. So what do companies do that have money? They invent a role for it, of course. So yeah, that's where we go. Enterprise architects or anything else in that domain to split up the big pieces into the small pieces so that the product owners are happy. So this is great stuff, isn't it? So there we are. Then we see, okay, how does things work here? And then our CEO and customer are interesting. When are you going to deliver something to us? Because there are dependencies. If it's a narrow scope team, you will automatically have dependencies. So yeah, we start counting. So the first 2 teams start here in sprint 1, 2 weeks. So then the other one can start another 2 weeks. And then this one can start another 2 weeks, and then this one can start. So hey, in about 8 weeks, you can expect something from us. And then they start working, and everything starts to work out fine until suddenly something goes wrong at the top over there. So, and they see, okay, I cannot actually fix it myself. I need to go with my dependent team. That dependent team immediately sees, oh, it's not for us, it's for the others. So this kind of ping pong and blame game and frustration starts playing out. So they go back to the owner and say, hey, you know what? Things will be a bit different. It will take 14 weeks. Sorry. No, too bad. No. Then again, you see the spaghetti coming up. This is just one example. There are many more ongoing, of course. You can imagine the spaghetti on the left and the right side of all those teams, don't you? So, of course, yeah, there we go. Product owners go like, yeah, we cannot handle this. All those dependencies and all those shifting dates, and that's a problem. What do companies do with money? They invent a role for it. So immediately, full team. So here we go, PMO. So, and they're really geniuses. They can manage these dependencies and all the rest like perfect. So they really get into this 14 weeks. And there goes the customer CEO. Hey, can we ship things to customers now? And as PMO goes like, I don't think so, because they're all separate packages. It's not together. So CEO and clients think like, yeah, but that's like the IKEA of software engineering, isn't it? We don't want this, of course, so that's not our business model. I don't assume that our customers are smart enough to do the integration of all the separate components. So yeah, there we go. That's a problem. What do companies do with money? They invent a role for it. So they invent a role for it. Hey, there we go. We have a new team that does the integration. You might call it DevOps these days, or DevSecOps, or DevSecAnalyzeSecOps, or whatever. So we got a new team that integrates, which is perfect. So there is our CEO again. Hey, are we way beyond this 14 weeks already? When are we going to deliver to the clients? Can we do this? And then this manager goes like, yeah, well, no, we are too busy chasing the teams to fix merge issues and then get it back to us. So we don't have time for anything else. Here again, what do companies do with money? All together, they invent a role for it. Yeah, of course, they invent a role. So here we go. So somebody needs to validate the full package. Yeah, QA comes into the picture, don't they? We cannot live without QA. So, there we go again. Can we now finally deliver? The QA manager goes like, yeah, well, no, because we are too busy chasing teams to fix functional issues and getting their packages back to us. We don't have time for anything else, so that's a problem. There we go. What do companies do? They invent a role for it, so here we go. Somebody will package it and sending it over into some kind of cloud, so months later, it hits the customer. So we think it's over now. We think, yeah, finally it hits the customer. But the customer comes back, hey, it's not really what I expected. So yeah, during the months that you were busy, my ideas changed, my world changed, so yeah, it doesn't really fit my need anymore. So yeah, and then like, who should I speak to? That's a problem. What do companies with money do? They invent a role for it. Here we go, customer support. Yes, somebody needs to be able to pick up the phone. So, but customer support is there and say, hey, we were kept in the dark all the time. We have no idea on how to help those people. So that's a problem. What do companies do with money? They invent a role for it. So here we go. Knowledge management, and then we have this kind of team policing that everybody needs to put documentation up to speed in a single place so that customer support understands what to do, isn't it? Perfect, perfect. So customer service says that my first guess that I need to be is in this team over there. So with the information we observed, I think the issue, we need that team. That team looks immediately at it, so they don't even say next sprint, they just immediately look at it. And they see, okay, it's not for us. So they go with the second best guess. So yeah, they have their second best guess, it's the right team, so they work on it, they give it back, they go to customer support from this quality agent thing there for the testers. The customer support immediately calls the client like, hey, it's solved. The client goes like, no way, it's not solved. This customer support agent like, this cannot be true. So they start all this fuss again internally. Oh, where is the mistake? It's not solved, blah, blah, blah. Seems that the fix was not deployed yet. Oh yeah, a bit of an issue, isn't it? So yeah, if you think like I'm in a corporate environment that has some kind of corporate obesity, maybe it's because they too easily go like, yeah, let's invent a role for it. Next problem you have, let's invent a role for it, isn't it? It's amazing, the amount of roles. You can easily see how agile an organization is. You count the amount of different roles they have in the organization. The more, the less agile. So that's pretty much key in this scenario. So many people think narrow scope teams, so here, this small team, we need to give them full autonomy. And we need to call them a stream team and a subsystem team and a platform team, and so that they can do full autonomously what they do, and this will be easier on their cognitive load, work memory. So the workload of acquiring new skills. Do you really think this is going to be easier for the team cognitive load? They have continuous context switching, continuous more work in progress, waiting for others, dealing with dependencies, trying to guess what the client really wants. So, but it's true, yeah, you know, it will be easier on the cognitive load. I don't think so. So how do you get out of this mess? So for the people that have a startup, you don't have this mess, I hope. So this would be otherwise very silly. 20 people having this mess would be crazy. So the first thing to do if you want to get rid of this is find some kind of, well, actually, it's not only that, because the CEO is looking at this and saying going too slow. So this was, for example, Z, you were here. This was what V, the co-founder of the organization, this is way too slow. We're growing more and more people, and actually nothing gets out anymore. So it's too slow. Too slow means also that market growth is stalling, that your EBITDA, your profit margins are dropping. It also means that with all this stress in the organization, that lots of employees, and especially the good ones, go like, yep, I will find myself another startup instead of this misery. And off they go. So that's quite a problem. So to back this up, you first look at product ownership. Most probably on this business side over there, people that actually really understand the market dynamics. So, and I explicitly say product ownership. I didn't say product owner, by the way. But we need some kind of product ownership happening, if it's called product director, product manager, or product owner Robin and Batman. That's also okay. All okay. So we need to find this. Then we find some kind of scrum mastering group, could be team leads, whatever you want to call them, but people that will engage in some kind of scrum mastering would be nice. If you come from this organization, then swapping to another one will take some effort. So it's not going to just go like this. So the third thing is that we need a new team design. So all the people there, we say, okay, we're going to design this differently. And it's not being top-down designed. We generally do this with a team self-design, as they want to call it. We put all the people in a big room. We say, this is what we want to achieve. So mix yourself up into your own teams, which hopefully have less dependencies to others than you had before. Et voilà, they find their own ways, which is perfect. So the third thing that we need is a new process. We cannot have all those separate packages. Everything needs to be completely integrated into one package immediately. So, and if you do this, then you come up with this kind of picture. Clients are working with teams. You have this product owner giving some direction. You have a Scrum Master community. I don't know what they do, but there is something there. So a CI system which builds a package, and that package is with a CD system being put into production. It's all automated. Perfect, isn't it? People come like, yeah, Jurgen, but there are 16 teams over there. One product owner, are you crazy? So there's too much for one person. What do companies with money do? No. We're not inventing a new role. We're just creating a product owner team, or we have Batman and Robin teams in this thing. So client of mine, 3 people, and they have 16 teams. So, and this was information on March 2024 when I created the slides, by the way. But this morning, it's still the same. So this morning, Z came up with his presentation, and he still has 16 teams working with one backlog, and still having this 3 people product owner community-alike stuff. So it's still the case today. So you don't need more than this. If you look at what is happening internally with the teams, it's not that 16 teams are working all together on one thing. So organically, we see that people like somewhere between 4, maximum 7 teams are working on one outcome together. So in this case, you would see they work on the 3 most valuable epics, features, capabilities, whatever you want to call it, with a multitude of teams. So maybe 2 teams there, or 1 team is actually working on issues. So, and this might be another team next time, and another team another time. So what is important, if you shift support responsibility from one team to another, you don't throw what you started over the wall to the next team that will pick it up. You as soon as you start, you own it till the end. That's the only rule you need to have, and then it's okay. You know, they will figure it out. Don't worry. So, and then here, so yeah, by the way, if you have 4 or 5 teams working one big epic or one big capability, like 5 teams, 7 people, 35 people, a 2-week sprint, 10 man days. So if you spend 350 man days on one epic, one capability, that's a serious, impactful improvement, something where you can get valuable feedback. So if you only spend 10 days or 3 days, and valuable feedback will not be that successful. You actually could skip your reviews then. But if you spend 350 man days on one thing, go for it. So CI means at least 2 times a day, all changes are merged into a production-ready package, stream, master, whatever you want to use in your system, by the way. So, and then, and there's a deployment. There's a business decision. Could be continuous deployment, but it might actually, continuous deployment might actually disrupt your business model. So it's really a business decision, not a technical decision, by the way. And then it's an environment. So that's it. This is what we call a product group. So it looks a lot simpler than we had before, isn't it? So which is now better for the team cognitive load, do you think? Having broader scope, we need to learn a bit more maybe along the way, but once it's there, it's there. As long as you don't swap every single sprint from one feature to another, that they can also build up some expertise in a certain thing, top notch. So that's a small organization, and people go, yeah, but my organization is a lot bigger than Ysoft is. So could be that it's that big, and then you see, okay, maybe a shared service is interesting. What is a shared service? It's something that can be done independent from a product group, where there's low impact on creating the product itself. So where the cost of delay on creating the product is also low. There's not that critical, and it's actually quite predictable dependency. You might actually have it in what is called a shared service within the product group. If you go bigger, then you might have 2 product groups. Imagine that. If you have 2 product groups, it also means each product group has their own P&L. Because otherwise you don't have a product owner, don't you? So both of them have their own profit and loss and all the rest. So they also most probably serve a different market or a different domain or a different user in that scenario, and they work completely independent. And then lots of managers will go nuts because now you have twice the same thing and different things because, we share certain things. We don't want to couple the sharing because it loses capability of being agile in our domain. Because now we need to coordinate with the other product group if you want to change core functionality. Maybe it's good to split it up in that scenario. So, of course, if you have 2 product groups, you might also have shared services in between the product groups, like HR, financial controlling, things that are actually non-essential to create a product. You know, if you look at the car, there are essential parts and non-essential parts. An essential part of a car that brings you from A to B is the engine. I think you can imagine. A non-essential part in a car is the air conditioning or the radio. It's nice to have, but you don't really need it to go from A to B. So non-essential capabilities in an organization might be a shared service amongst 2 product groups, which is also okay. So, but then people come to me, corporate is bigger than 2 product groups. There we go. So, by the way, you can only start thinking about this when you have 500 plus people, otherwise it doesn't comply, it's economically not valuable. So, but if you have this scenario, you might think about a platform group. So a platform group is commodity, functionality. It's like this thing here. An iPhone, iOS is a platform. I can update my platform, I can release my platform, I can upgrade this thing, totally independent from all the apps. All the apps can totally independent update, build in new features independent from the platform. So there's no dependency. I, as an app developer, can choose to either use this platform or use another platform, Android or Windows, for example. It's a choice. So this is what we mean with a platform group. They should also have their own P&L, which is then called internal market economies, according to that scenario. So meaning that the people that are in the product groups will pay a license fee to the platform group, according to market economies. So meaning if I would hire this service or get this platform from somewhere else, external from the company, this would be the license fee. This is the kind of fee you also get. And with this fee, you need to account for all your people and all the rest. I'm pretty sure if you do this kind of exercise in most organizations that have a platform group, they would not be economically viable at this moment in time. But this would be the best scenario. So with this, you can actually grow a hell of a lot. So if you look at 500 plus people versus what we had here, I think it's a lot easier on the mindset. So it's also a lot simpler. Simplification, you know. I think you can address your BMI, so meaning bureaucracy mass index, quite significantly by swapping around some of the organizational structures. So, and this is what I can do in this 30 minutes. If I want to explore more, then it will become a hello nerd. But anyhow, this is giving you good ideas, I assume. If you want more, then you can come to a 2-day designing our agile organizations, so where we talk more about what is a platform, what is a shared service, what should not be a shared service, and all that stuff. 3 types of dependencies, there's not one. So if you want to see, okay, how do I launch this kind of product group with all those teams all together, then I would say come to my 3-day last course. So that's where we go more into depth on this thing and how we coach. So leaves me to say I have a free present from you, so you don't need to pay for this. Together with Victor Grisic, I cannot pronounce his name, by the way, but together with Victor, we wrote, I think, close to 100-page book on cognitive load, out of frustration about the misconceptions in this world. So there's lots of myth-busting in that book. So scan the QR code, get yourself the book, and that's it for me. I still have 3 minutes for questions.